What's up, everybody? It's a girl with a horse tattoo, and today I'm doing another episode of Life After Travel. This episode is going to be about transitioning back to the States and just how does that go? How does that go? So we're just gonna get right into the video. I have a special guest today, and I'm so excited to introduce her. She is a woman of multifacets: dancer, ambassador, influencer, content creator, world traveler. Please help me welcome Chi.
Thanks for having me.
No problem. It worked out perfectly.
It did.
You live in Miami.
Yeah, I live in Miami, and then I was like, well, I'm probably coming to LA soon, so I'll let you know.
Yeah, that works out perfect. So I mentioned all of the things that you do.
Yeah.
Let's just jump right into it.
Okay, yeah.
What inspires your work ethic?
I think my biggest inspiration is my family. Like, just going hard for my family's name and making sure that, like, I leave a blueprint on this earth, like, for us.
Yeah,
like,
wow.
that really just keeps me going.
That's very selfless.
Yeah.
Actually, in one of my other videos, I was talking about like travelers being selfless versus selfish.
Yeah.
And it's just so important that you're already like thinking about like your legacy and
Yeah.
how it's just going to affect the future.
The future, yeah.
Because I'm not even in that mind frame yet, but I do see that now that I'm back and we're trying to like do our own little like owning entrepreneur type thing. So you did travel for most of your 20s.
I did.
Yeah.
I did. It was so much fun.
What were you searching for? Like, what was your mission going from country to country?
I think I grew up in a small town and I didn't travel often growing up. You know, it was just, I didn't know much about the world. So once I started to travel, conceptually, I started to realize how big the world is. And that was just very intriguing and exciting to me because it was just like so much that I did not know. Like, it just, everything was new all the time because I'm not used to, like, the first time I ever got on a plane was at 22 years old.
That's a good time.
Yeah.
You're still so
'Cause,
impressionable and your mind is still like a sponge.
Yeah. So I think that just diving into different cultures, like, I love throwing myself into different cultures and really picking up on their traditions and understanding how they, like, their way of life aside from like the American way of life. So it's just very intriguing to me, and I'm always like excited and interested to know more about the world.
Yes. I totally can relate and connect on that aspect. So what is it that you feel like that you brought from traveling back to America? How has your experiences cultivated your future and your present?
I think that every time I meet someone, they're just like, oh my God, your energy is so different. You look at things like, I think that traveling opened my mind so much, whereas I know that this is not the only way to live. Like, the American westernized way of life is not it for me personally. Like, and it doesn't have to be. You know, obviously right now with COVID, everything's kind of shut down, but I feel like it changed my perspectives on the way I experience and the way I perceive my environments and the people around me. And it just, like, when we met in Bangkok, like,
I can totally relate to that kind of energy.
Yeah,
I was just like, I think the first time we were out at some kind of like little small place in Bangkok, and it was like one of the Ebony Expats events, and you know, I remember it being like, what is it, like happy hour or some kind of discount or something. But I remember your presence coming in, like immediately you dived. You dived in the deep end. You were very open, like just very open, and just the meeting and connecting. And it was like, you had an aura. You definitely had an aura. And you get that from traveling, I feel like.
I feel like that too. Like, I feel like when you travel, you meet so many people from so many different backgrounds. Like, when I was in Shanghai, everyone's like, oh, did you date Asians? Like, no, like, there's so many different people in China. They're not all Asian. Like, there's so many of us traveling. Like, I got to meet people from all over the world. And it's insane. So it just opens your mind up so much to just like the possibilities of this world is endless. And I feel like in America, sometimes we are taught that like America, like is the only way, like the American way of life, the American dream. Like everyone's trying to
the white picket fence,
the
the
white
2 children,
picket fence, 2 children,
yeah,
like garage, like that's not my reality any longer.
Yeah, and it's definitely one of those things where it's just like you get more opportunities and more inspiration by opening yourself up to just the planet, the entire planet.
Yeah.
So do you feel like once a traveler, always a traveler, or was that just like a season of your life?
I definitely think I'm always going to be a traveler. I think what's so interesting with COVID is that like I've had to stay in one place. Like I'm not used to staying in one place for this long. So it's like I'm like itching to go somewhere and do something. Right? Like I'm like looking up tickets for Bangkok. Like I'm like I would love to go back to Bangkok.
The cases are they're doing phenomenal right now. So it's definitely like Suncrane is right around the corner. Okay, let's plan a trip. So when you came back you came from Bangkok to Miami?
Yeah.
Or did you go? Okay.
Yeah.
So how instrumental was your family in helping you transition? Because I know for myself, it just sped up the process because I could already say, okay, I have somewhere to stay.
Yeah.
All right, I can save my money until I find a job.
Yeah.
It was very much so 100% helpful. So how has your family aided in this transition, even if it's a phone call or something like that?
My family is kind of just used to me doing whatever because I spent like a year in Shanghai, I went to Morocco, I went to Spain, and then Bangkok. So like they're used to it. Yeah. So, like, they'll be like, "Where are you at now?" But transitioning is always tough. Coming back is always tough, and I
Tell
mean,
me about it.
This is the first time that I've had my own place. So when I got back from Bangkok, I was actually in a relationship, and then I realized like that relationship is not going to work. And so I moved in with my sister for a few months to get my money up, to like figure out what I'm going to do, where I wanted to go. I didn't know if I was going to come to Cali or go somewhere else. And then COVID happened, so I just got my own place in Florida. And this is my first time ever having my own place, like in the States.
Wow, congratulations.
My own place, and it's, moving during a pandemic. And I like your boots.
Oh, thank you. Got these in Korea.
Nice.
Yeah.
Moving, during a pandemic is like stressful.
I know.
As fuck. Can we curse?
Yeah.
Okay.
Fire away.
Okay.
Fire in the hole. Boom.
It's stressful as fuck. It's been so stressful, but it's been such a learning curve. And my family, my sister is like my biggest supporter, and I really don't know. Yeah, I don't know what I would do without her. I really don't. Like she's there for me. Like she gets it. But I think this time I've just learned that if I do travel again, I have to be way more smarter financially. I have to definitely not go to the market all the time and shop all the time. Like I have to save. Yeah. I have to save. And that was just something that was not in the forefront of my travels, just because when you're experiencing life,
you want to do it.
You want to do it
fully.
So
you don't halfway experience the culture.
Because in the back of your head, like you're like, this is a once in a lifetime opportunity.
Yeah.
And thank God that I did travel a lot during my 20s, because look at us now. Yeah. We have nowhere to go. So I think transitioning, family is always helpful. Always. Or just whoever is there to support you, like whoever has your back. It's needed.
Yeah, I totally agree. I definitely wanted to. I love J-Lo, so like this word limitless comes from her vernacular, because I think she made a perfume or some kind of album called Limitless or song or something. But when I think of Limitless, I think of you. It's like synonymous with your name, as how you just created this whole, just this space. Yeah. You created your own lane.
I did.
To really kind of fuel you emotionally, spiritually, financially. So what would you say, how did that come about? Like how did she become limitless? Like during going through ups and downs and trying to really kind of create this opportunity where it's like it's not really opportunity.
No.
So you have to create
you have
a table.
to create yourself.
Yeah.
You have to create your own world. I think that I've always just been true to me. Like I've always led with myself, you know. I've always just been me. Like I've just been myself, and I think that that's what has gotten me where I am, because I'm not trying to be like anyone else. My story is so different and it's so unique to me that it's opened so many doors. So even when I have like bad things happen or something that I think is a bad thing, it's actually opening a door for me. And me being able to tell my story and to share some of these things that I go through within my life, I feel like has opened a lot of doors. And I think people like when they can relate to someone, you know? And when I'm like really on social media, I'm really raw. Like I tell everything that I'm going through. I don't hide it. I don't try to act like I'm this or my life looks like this. Like, no, I'm going to give you the real shit, because life is real. And I've been through so much shit that it's like I'm now realizing that all the trauma and everything that I went through is only helping me get to where I need to go. And that is because I'm sharing it and I'm healing, and with healing myself, I'm healing those around me, and my story is like helping me create this space, using that as fuel, like to fire my passion in life.
Exactly.
You know?
I definitely saw like this whole imagery, because I'm like such a imaginative learner. Like just kind of like when there's like a plant in the ground and like, you know, it's kind of dead and dry, and it has all of the like the roots, the what are the things called in the ground? The roots are the things that you have to pull up, the weeds.
Oh, the weeds.
The weeds are growing, but they're bad, and they're also like attacking.
Rip them out.
They're attacking all the other flowers and buds around it. And if you can rip that up and heal that one plant, that one flower, you can create this whole garden of beautiful blossoming flowers.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah, I know. I just saw it when you were talking. And it kind of just gave me chills. That relatability is so crucial. How has the people you met abroad impacted, you know, your life?
I think that they give me a sense of like hope. You meet people from like different walks of life. The most interesting thing to me is like meeting someone who doesn't speak my language. You know, English isn't their first language, but being able to connect with them just about like life in general. And it's like, it doesn't matter where you grow up or where you are in life. Like, we're humans, we are people, and just because we don't speak the same language or we're not from the same country doesn't mean that we can't connect, you know? And I think that that's been my biggest takeaway from meeting people abroad. Like, my best friend now is from Barcelona, and we've been traveling together for years.
So
and I would have never thought that I would have a best friend that doesn't, you know, her English isn't her first language, but we connect just like we're sisters, you know? And that is amazing. And I think that goes back to like opening your mind, you know? As Americans, I feel like we need to be way more open to connecting and just being around others, not just us, you know? Not just Americans are the best, or no, like this world is so huge, like it's so big. It's just amazing for me to be able to connect with people from different countries.
Yeah, I think that's so beautiful, because like I actually went to a diverse school, and you know, I was exposed, but I wasn't immersed, because it's just like you still kind of have this American mindset of like, you know, stick to what you know.
Stick to what you know.
But it's like once you break that wall, like once you let people in.
Let people in.
It's just like it's the world just becomes more seasoned, more interesting.
Yeah,
you know?
And it makes more sense as well. Like who you are, I guess. For me, it helps me understand myself better, because now you're in different situations, you're problem solving, you're figuring things out. Like how are you going to maneuver in a foreign country where no one speaks your language? How are you going to do that?
Exactly.
You know?
What is the future holding for you? Like, do you plan on settling down in Miami, or is there something else that you are obtaining? You don't have to give give all the details. Some things can be a surprise because I know sometimes we like to work in silence and then reveal.
Yeah.
But what you can share, what are you looking forward to? Are you getting vaccinated?
Am I getting vaccinated? No. Hell no. Absolutely not. I think that I'm holding space for whatever is coming to me. And I think that I've learned during this pandemic that it might not look like what I've imagined it to look like, or it might not be what I expect it to look like. And I have to be open to that. I have to be open to my life, my dreams, not looking the way I've always planned it. I don't want to block my own blessing. I feel like I'm in a really good space. I feel like I'm grounding a lot. I feel like I'm building a lot. Like I feel like I'm just grafting right now and really setting a foundation of what's to come. Hopefully, I can put in the amount of work needed so that I can make my brand bigger and start, developing products and, empowerment circles and things of that nature. But I feel like I have to get like my inner self right first before I lead in that way. Right. So right now I'm just doing the work, like my inner work. I feel like traveling has helped me produce in that way, like a mindset. Like there's so many experiences and things that I've experienced that people have no clue what happens when you go abroad, when you're living abroad. Like from a day-to-day,
it's like out of sight, out of mind.
Yeah, from a day-to-day perspective, like there's so many things that just are so different, and you live in a completely different space. So coming back, I just think that also just helps me get through shit. Like, all right, this doesn't work, go this way. Like I know that this isn't it. Like this is not all in all. I understand that. So I think that
it's
helps.
like
But
it's like there is going to be a delayed process when you're abroad,
right?
Because you're going through the language barrier, you're going through the cultural differences, you're going through the way of thinking, the perspective. All of it's different.
Yeah. And you're like, you see yourself differently as well. Here, I'm like, work. Like here it is. You gotta work. You gotta put in work here. That's just what it is. America, work. Like you work your ass off. Yeah. And then when I'm abroad, I'm like, wow, like the dollar goes so stretches more, so I can do more, and I can experience more and explore more and go to the spa, like things that I necessarily can't do here at the moment. Like when you're abroad, you can go to the spa, do this, do that,
get your nails done, get your eyes done,
all the time, and I feel like that's such a good experience. It's a nice like breath of fresh air. I think that when you're abroad, and I know we've talked about this a lot, but like when you're abroad, you really do see like here is nonstop, like that hustle, like sleep when you die mentality is so big here. It's so huge that like when you go abroad, like it's just so different. Like life is so different. People aren't so stressed. People aren't so like about like hustle, like work but get your rest. Like work but have an hour lunch. Work but do what you need to do to,
and
live.
Talk and enjoy through the work.
Yes,
you see a lot of people like the reason why things take so long in Thailand specifically is because they talk, enjoy, and eat through the work.
Yes.
And in Korea, like stuff don't be opening up until 10 o'clock because they believe in beauty sleep.
Yeah, wow. So they're not gonna wake up any earlier.
No, because they believe that their body is healing itself.
Yeah, it is when you sleep.
I think it's really, really important to like have that. That is like a well of itself that's wealth, because it's just like knowing that when you need to slow down.
Like, and that's okay.
Yeah.
And that it's really okay. But it's like just reprogramming your brain, and I feel like people who went abroad, we have like a level up on that because like we know a different way of life.
A lot of people I know deal with this because I've had this conversation when being abroad. It's like, when do you know? When do you know it's like, okay, I'm done with this country. Oh, okay, I'm done with this city. Okay, it's ready to go back to the States. When do you know what is that? When does that switch happen?
Yeah, that's pretty easy for me because usually when I go abroad, I go on a contract.
Oh, okay.
So I know my start date, I know my finish date, and so whatever happens in between there, I got to get it in because I got a ticket back home.
Right.
I can say, like, this time that I left Bangkok, I cried like a baby. Like, I did not want to leave. I did not want to come back.
Yeah.
And it was also because of like whatever I was coming back here, but I felt more at home in Thailand than ever. You know, I felt like I found a little groove there.
Yeah.
I was booking commercials there. Like outside of dancing, I did like commercial work, and it was just like I had an agent, and I was like, this is blowing my mind. Like, this is like a dream come true to me. Like, I really didn't want to leave that space.
Yeah.
That was a new feeling because usually I know that like I'm like, okay, I'm ready to go home. Like, I'm ready to see my family. I'm ready to see, you know, I'm just ready to be back in my my country. Like, you know, eat the food that I want to eat. You know, kind of.
Come on, Chick-fil-A.
Chick-fil-A.
First things I got.
Yeah. And so usually I'm like, I've done my time here, I'm ready. But I think Bangkok was just like such a good fit for me at the time, and it was such a cool geographically, you know, like you can go to the islands, you can go to Bali, like it was just. It was a really
You can
nice.
turn up, you can turn
down.
down.
Yeah, like, girl, I remember that time we went out and you were dancing. So I was like, I love this girl.
Remember I kept saying, I never met any dancers here.
Yeah.
I didn't know there were dancers here. I can't believe there were dancers.
We had some fun.
Oh, it was so
time.
fun. The connections you had abroad, did it shape your self-identity in any way? Or was it just like more of a time of exploring and experimenting and seeing who you are? Or was it more so like, wow, like I know that I am responsible because, I paid my bills every week in Thailand. Like, was it more something like concrete like that, or was it more abstract like, oh, Thailand helped my identity being more, honest,
Yeah.
What was it?
I think when I'm abroad, it's way more exploration for me. I'm usually on a contract, so like my bills are paid for, like transportation is provided, so it really allows a space for me to like have like less responsibility and just really explore.
I love that so much.
Yeah. So when I'm here
Yeah.
and like paying my bills and doing all of this shit, like I'm like, I told my sister the other day, I was like, I don't know how I'm not having a mental breakdown right now because this is so foreign to me. Like, I don't want to be stressed about money. I don't want to be stressed. Like, I don't want to live in a state of stress.
It takes up the mind.
It takes up the mind, and I can't create, and I can't like do the things I want to do, and I don't have like the space to be like, oh, let me do this today, or let me do that. Like, I'm like, okay, I gotta like figure this out, but I'm learning. I'm getting better. I'm learning that, but I think when I'm abroad, I'm just exploring. Like, I'm exploring who I am, what I am, what do I believe in, how am I going to get myself out of this situation, what are my flaws, what are my strengths.
Right.
I've made so many mistakes abroad. I've made some really bad decisions. I've made great decisions. I've met amazing people. I've met not so great people. Like, it's just, but I think abroad, everyone else is so open to meeting you as well. And here, I don't think that it's like the same. I feel like people aren't as open. Like,
this is going to be my first person I know from America. Let me get to know this person,
type. So it's just more of a, exploring who I am and exploring my identity, like reprogramming things that I've been taught, and now deciding how I want to move forward with that. Like, okay, this is what my family taught me, but as an adult, I don't have to believe in that for the rest of my life. So let me just change this perspective or change this belief on this. Or you don't have to be like that, or you don't have to do things like this.
I totally can relate. Like, is this something that I do because it feels authentic and true to who I am, or is it something that I've been taught or trained through parenting or my environment, you name it, whatever. This is not a question that I prepared for you, but I just want to talk a little bit about age, like, and how that has been a deterrent, or how that has been an opportunity?
Mm-hmm.
How do you view it? Because I feel like in America everything is like measurable, and as soon as I got back, I'm like, okay, you know, my best friend's same age, you know, she got an apartment, you know, she got a car, okay, she has a full-time job, okay, I'm the same age, okay, I gotta get that, I gotta get that, okay, she just got, okay, I gotta do that. And that was my first 2 months here. And I'm like, why am I trying to catch up to my friend? You know, I need to just give myself space to just breathe. If I don't consciously and be intentional about it, I find myself going back to, okay, how old are you? Okay, so I need to do this. Okay, you started life insurance plan? Okay. You really don't have to worry about that kind of stuff when you're abroad, and you have that space to create, okay, wow, I really love nature. Like, I have time to just go to the mountains and camp and go, you know, and that's important. That's important because when you retire, you don't know what you like or what you want to do when you're in America.
You just got all of this stability.
You got stability, but what, you stay at home. And you what?
Do the same thing
water
every day.
Your lawn. What else can you do? Read a magazine.
So this is an interesting question. I've been battling with the age thing because I turned 30 in August, and here it's just so many pressures when you're a 30-year-old woman,
and
judgment. And so I think that I was getting my own place was something that I just felt like I needed as a 30-year-old woman, and I felt like I need to know that I can do it. So, like, you know, staying with people, staying over here for a few months, staying over here it's cool, but I knew, like, I'm ready to ground my feet a little bit. Like, I want to have my own space, like
your routine,
my routine, you know. And I've never been a routine person, but now I was like, I'm ready. And thank God I gave myself the time and space to do it. I didn't rush into it. I think that it's important to, like, speak your truth. And, like, I feel like I go against the grain with everything that I'm doing in my life. So I think it's important to show women that, like, you don't have to have it all together by 30. I'm surrounded by all my best friends have children, they're married, house, like the car, and that's their life, and I respect them and they respect me, and no one pressures me to have that type of lifestyle because they know that's not me. And so you got to put yourself in positions and people in your life that are going to respect your decisions and choice, and not try to, like, force you to do something that doesn't resonate with you in your life. I'm 30, and if I really think about it, I would freak myself out if you compare yourself to, but I can't compare myself to women who've been working a 9-to-5 ever since they graduated college, you know, and have that stability, and people who've been, like, on the grind here. Like, I can't have, obviously, that much savings because I haven't been in that situation. So my life is looking a little different. And at the end of the day, you have to be okay with that.
Right.
You're the only person that has to be okay. I have to be okay with the decisions that I've made, and, you know, however, I'm going to move forward with that now. Being 30, single, I don't have any kids, I'm not in a relationship. It's just me. I'm just figuring my shit out, and maybe some people think it's late in life. I feel like I just started. I feel like I just woke up. I feel like in my 20s, I was so lost.
That's our superpower.
Yeah, I was like, oh my God, I don't want to say this. I don't want to do this. I want to look like this. Oh my gosh. I feel like I just fucking woke up, and I'm like, this is who I am now. I think that now that I'm back and I live in Florida, and my sister lives 7 minutes away from me, and before I would be like, no, I don't want to stay that close. But now I'm like, yes, let's go for a morning walk together. Let me bring you some lunch. Like, little things that I've never been able to do ever in my life, because low-key, we're not that dependable. Like, sometimes our service, that VPN is not working. Like, they don't know what we got going on. But now that I'm here, and the pandemic, I think that it's so important to have that sense of family. And I'm not one saying that, like, your family is your blood family. Like, whoever, however you source out your family and your connections and people that are in your corner, that's your family. So I think that sense of community and village is so important. I really
Yeah.
do. Yeah, I really do.
I would agree, and I would honestly, I would leave you guys with that because I think, Ahana means family, and family means no one gets left behind.
Yeah, I love that.
That's from Lilo and
Love
Stitch.
Okay.
We are a family growing like a giant tree, branching out from the stars.
Yeah.
That's just gross.
it. Go ahead, jump another one.
I don't think I have any more.
That's straight, girls.
No, but thank you so much for being
Thanks
here.
for having me.
And-
Thank you for having me.
Oh, thank you so much. And I just really hope you guys are able to follow her.
And make sure you subscribe and like to her YouTube.
Oh, thank you.
Yes. This is amazing.
I know. And we'll see you guys for the next episode. This has been Life After Travel. See you later.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.